The lecture session, and for that, first I would like to invite Brother Hammad Khan, son of Ehtisham Khan, who is attending Jatuna College, that is situated at Berkeley, California. And I would like to add here that the Jatuna is the first Islamic university that is affiliated in the university system of the United States of America, and this is also affiliated with UC Berkeley. And Brother Hammad is born and raised in Southern California, and he is pursuing his bachelor degree in Islamic law and theology. And he is also a student and murid of Hazrat Pir Tariqat Hazrat Dr. Ghaffar Ali Siddiqui Damat Barakatuh Aliyah. And he pays a lot of attention and he gets a lot of guidance from him. So now, without any delay, I would like to invite Brother Hammad Khan to the podium amidst Nare Risalat, Nare Takbir. Nare Takbir! Nare Risalat! Brother Hammad Khan.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق الخاتم لما سبق وناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. اللهم افتح علينا فتوح العارفين ووفقنا توفيق الصالحين وانفعنا اللهم بالقرآن والذكر الحكيم. اللهم ما علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزد علما وعملا متقبلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت يا حي يا قيوم تجد حزنا إذا شئت سهلا سهلا. اللهم نعوذ من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا واصلح لنا شأننا كله. لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I just wanted to take a moment to reflect on the specialness of this occasion. It is a divine occasion. It's an honor to be here, to be asked to speak here. And just to say that it's a blessing to be able to celebrate such a heavenly and beautiful relationships. Meaning, we're speaking about awliya and Allah and Habib Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and things beyond the darknesses and struggles of this world, and the mundane conversations we normally have. We are hearing about and celebrating the seeker and the sought, the murshid and the murid, the talib and matlub, the lover and the beloved, God and His friends. His friends are those who are brought near and elevated beyond the rest of creation. This is the way Allah has honored us and wishes for us to be among those brought close to Him, that He allows us to attend these gatherings. And I mean, we know the state of these gatherings, what Allah has said about these gatherings, what Rasulullah has said about these gatherings, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I feel that for this occasion we must fully understand the class of human beings we are talking about today. And in this case, Khwaja Nawaz rahmatullahi alayhi. To truly be able to love them and connect with them and reflect their light and respect their maqam, their station with Allah, and to be able to seek their aid in all our struggles. There are men and women among the children of Adam, among us, who know and truly love God. They are people that have developed unshakable certainty in their belief in God and completely, or in early cases perfectly inculcated the inward and outward qualities and practices of the best of creation, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. They have understood the purpose of our existence. the reason the Creator has granted us life and consciousness and the ability to know and choose. They have realized that every one of their thoughts and actions and every internal and external occurrence in their life has everything to do with God and is connected to God, His will and His power, Jalla Jalaluhu. These men and women have realized that they are connected to everything in creation, and everything in creation is connected to them. And all things have to do with God, without exception. They know full well that there is nothing they do that does not affect God's creation. Nothing happens in creation that does not affect them. They have seen that absolutely all things in creation have meaning, and nothing can be meaningless. When it comes down to it, the essential meaning behind everything is God, and there's nothing apart from or unrelated to Him. For He is the Creator of all things, and He does not do anything without infinite and unquestionable wisdom. And He cannot be associated with meaninglessness, or considered to act without meaning, for that would imply ignorance, and action without knowledge, hasha Allah. Because God is the ultimate meaning within all of creation, and knowing Him is the purpose of our being brought forth, of our being brought forth into existence. Everything sought by these select children of Adam in this world, whether it be deen or dunya, is for the purpose to find God, better yet, to return to God, our beginning. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We are all returning to the beginning, whether we are aware of it or not. Like Muslims, non-Muslims, we are all returning to something. Whether we are aware of it or not, alhamdulillah, with tawfiq, Allah has given us Islam, so we are aware of it. We are all returning to the beginning, whether we are aware of it or not. Life will end, and God has promised to take us back, just as He has brought us forth. The level of our success after this world will depend on our awareness of this concept and actualization of it in our daily lives. Our origin, where we come from, is known to these men and women, and they have purged their hearts of the desires of this world and of that which ties one to creation, and yearn for the return to the origin, to be reunited with the originator, Jalla Jalaluhu, to enter into His presence once again, and to be free from everything else other than Him, to be relieved from the distractions of creation and experience relief in the annihilation in the Creator. These are the saints, the friends of God, the Ahlul Wilayah, those blessed few in each generation of mankind that reach ihsan in their worship of their Lord. When questioned about ihsan by Jibreel alayhi salam, the best of creation, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, responded by saying, أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه وإن لم تكن تراه إنه يراك. Meaning that ihsan, according to our teacher, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is to worship as if you see God. And if you are unable to see Him, He definitely sees you. So then how can one see God? This isn't necessarily a physical occurrence, it's not a physical sight. It is an inner sight, a realization with the basira. One can see and realize God in three different manners, in three different layers. And this we can understand. Allah has talked about it. Allah says in the Quran when He speaks about Khidr alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam in their meeting, that, and everyone knows the story of Khidr alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam, that Musa alayhi salam was sent to Khidr alayhi salam for a special knowledge that he was seeking. And so Khidr alayhi salam said, stay with me, but you can only stay with me as long as you do not question what I do. So Khidr alayhi salam went along and he did three things, and every time Musa alayhi salam was shocked about what he saw apparently, and he questioned it. And at the end, after the third occurrence, Khidr alayhi salam is like, this is the farq bayni wa baynak. This is in Surah Kahf, and this is where you and I part. And so when Khidr alayhi salam begins to explain to Musa alayhi salam why he acted the way he did. In the first instance, they were on a boat, crossing a river, and Khidr alayhi salam, started putting a hole in it, started to damage the boat. And Musa alayhi salam was shocked, like, why did you do that? You know? And he said, Aradtu. Khidr alayhi salam said, Aradtu, I wanted to create a hole in this boat, to damage this boat, so that an oppressive man that takes the boat of good people, of the poor people, for his own benefit, does not do that to this person. The next occurrence was when Khidr salam, he killed the child. And it was, again, like, we have to understand, like, Musa and Khidr salam were walking down the street, or wherever they were walking, and along comes a child, like a young child, and Khidr salam takes his life. So Musa is going to be shocked. And when Khidr salam explains this, he says, Aradna, we wanted to protect this child's parents from this child because he would have grown up to be an oppressive person to these parents who are beloved to Allah. And the third instance was, so here Khidr salam says Aradna, meaning him and Allah. So we're seeing now the interaction of the divine will, the will of Allah and the will of the human being, how they are aligned. And it's still Khidr salam saying that I have acted. In the first instance, I have acted. I acted. I did this. In the second instance, I have acted, but yet aligned with the will of Allah. And the third instance is when they entered the city, the town, and they rebuilt the wall, and they were mistreated. They have a noble appearance, and the huzur, the elders, they were mistreated. They weren't given the hospitality that they should have received, and yet still Khidr salam built that wall. And Musa salam questioned him, why did you do that? And he said that, so finally when he was explaining, he said that there was a treasure hidden underneath this wall that were left for the orphans. And if the townspeople had found that treasure, they would have taken it away from these children that would need it later on in their life. So Khidr salam, so they rebuilt the wall, and so it was hidden. And in this instance, Khidr salam said, Arada Rabbuka, that your Lord willed it, your Lord wanted this. So now it's not Khidr salam acting, it is just the action of Allah. And that's all he's affirming in this instance, that Allah acted. And this is the maqam of the wali, of awliya Allah, is that they have realized that Allah is the only true actor in creation. In and out of creation, that Allah is the only one acting. So, and the maqam is that they assert that in every part of their life. And the Sikh has realized that all action is Allah's action. When we talk about occasionalism, that is affirming that, occasionalism says, it's a theological concept that you affirm that Allah is creating every action in every moment, and He's recreating every moment over and over again, and He is the only actor. He's the only active. He's the only doer in this in creation. So this is a theological understanding of what a wali experiences, or what he believes, what his iman is, what his faith is. And this is the relationship, and this is how the wali understands Allah in his life, in his interaction. And our Khwaja teaches us about another layer. He says, a friend of God must have affection like the sun. When the sun rises, it is beneficial to all, irrespective of whether they are Muslim, Christian, or Hindu. And it gives abundantly without restraint. A friend of God must be generous like a river. We all get water from the river to quench our thirst. It does not discriminate whether we are good or bad, whether we are a relation or a stranger. And a friend of God must display the hospitality and humility like the earth. We are raised and cradled in its lap, yet it is always under our feet. Khwaja says, saw this in creation. This is a small example of his witnessing of God, by which he was able to teach us beautiful qualities we should strive for and look for in people. However, these are not qualities and attributes that people naturally possess. We need someone to teach us sometime, someone to be an example. Someone we can look at their life and see how beautifully they conducted their life, regardless of what Allah has tested them with. These are the qualities and attributes of the best of creation, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He is our example, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the wali is one who has worked on reflecting that prophetic light, and perfecting their character to be like Rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to follow his sunnah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّكَ عَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And he's speaking to Rasulullah. So I'm saying that verily, definitely, you are upon good character, as in you are the master. You are above, you are beyond any other. And no one has as good of a character as you do.
MashaAllah.
And this, and the Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and this, the circumstance in which this was revealed was that whenever someone would ask Rasulullah for anything, he would say, Labbaik, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Labbaik, I'm hadir, I'm here for you. Labbaik. Anyone, whether it be Christian, a Muslim, non-Muslim. Labbaik. Ya Rasulullah, I need this. Labbaik. Rasulullah, I need this. Labbaik. Muhammad, I need this. Labbaik. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And this was his character. It was his mercy, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Rahmatan lil Alameen. His generosity, his forbearance in the face of oppression. People used to come and test him. We know the stories. There've been all kinds of things to him, but yet he only increased in his patience, in his forbearance, in his treatment of, and his dignity was that he only reacted in kindness, and he genuinely cared for other people. And this is what a wali strives to. What we all should strive, but this is what a wali has strived to inculcate into himself, his good character, and has done so. And in that is beloved to Allah, so their maqam is increased in the eyes of Allah. The awliya follow him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as much as they have been given the capacity to. I mean, he is called, and Khwaja Ghareeb Nawaz, he was called Ghareeb Nawaz for a reason, because he took care of the people. Yeah, you hear stories when he was sent to Ajmer by Mustafa. He sat with the untouchables. In the untouchable class in India were the people, the lowest class. There was a class system, they were the lowest class. Other people of the higher classes didn't even touch them. Imagine that sort of treatment. I mean, even now we do still do that. You know, people on the streets, like, we'll give them money, we'll like make sure we don't touch their hands, something like that. That's like still now, we still have this. So Khwaja Ghareeb Nawaz, he went, and sat with them, and fed them, and treated them, gave them medicine, and taught them love, and showed them kindness, and drew them drew them to Allah, and this was his da'wah. Rasulullah did the exact same thing, and Khwaja Ghareeb Nawaz is only following the example of Rasulullah. So this idea of the untouchable class was a social norm. It was something that is widely accepted. It was something that everyone did. It was something that wasn't questioned by culture. It wasn't questioned by society. So this same concept, this same thing that Rasulullah did when he opposed the infanticide, when he opposed bearing young daughters, when he opposed the bearing of newborn baby daughters. You know, and that was Rasulullah. He was opposing it. He was opposing a theology, he was opposing a religious belief, and he would do that it was in khilaf, it was in opposition to the rest of society, and that alienates you, and we saw that in the Sira. And the same thing with the Khwaja Ghareeb Nawaz and all the awliya, they follow that example. They go against societal norms because they understand that so in order to have a heart that is able to reflect divine qualities, so what we're talking about is these are godly qualities. There are attributes of God reflected through His Habib, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's the ultimate reflection of Allah, manifest on this earth, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And through the saints of this ummah, they are further reflection of that prophetic light that emits from the heart of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is our knowing of God. This is how Allah has allowed us to know Him better than anything else in creation. This is our maqam as human beings. Man is the greatest of all creation because they're able to reflect all of God's qualities, all of God's attributes. If that is the state of man, what about the state of the best of man? This has to do with the human heart, and the heart that has the capacity to reflect these divine qualities. Allah has created that. That is like he's speaking to the heart of Rasulullah. It's like because Rasulullah used to receive the revelation directly, and it was hard, it was heavy. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Allah said that if I said the same thing down to a mountain, we see mountains here. Allah said if He said the same thing down, to those mountains, they would just burst to dust, into nothingness. Yet the heart of Rasulullah was able to take it. So this speaks of the heart of man, that is able to handle this reflection. That's why man was created. Allah said, I created man in my image. I taught Adam my names. What are those names? I mean, some people say those are the attributes of Allah. The fact that we're able to reflect Allah's attributes, His divine qualities in that. And what we see in Rasulullah is that Rasulullah is the perfect reflection of Allah's divine qualities. So when we're following Allah, when we're following Rasulullah, we're following Allah. But in order to have a heart that is able to reflect divine qualities and the prophetic light, which are arguably one and the same, it comes down to knowledge, discerning the meaning behind everything, establishing truth and falsehood. And this ability is only attained by walking through the door of knowledge. Knowledge gives your intellect the ability to discern haqq and batil, truth and falsehood. It gives you the key to understanding the nature of things and their deeper realities, which will always point to one God. Nawaz sat with the untouchables and went against social norms. This is prophetic. And a knowledge helps you not just, it will keep you from just going with the flow and doing things mindlessly and accept them based on society's acceptance of something, based on the fact that everyone's doing it. We don't think anymore. A person who possesses true knowledge is able to see that the whole world may be doing what the whole world may be doing is not right. It's because the whole world is doing it. Knowledge gives us a sharpened intellect which is able to cut and pierce through any veil of deception, any veil of dunya, to unveil the truth and purify the heart with it. The intellect is a necessary tool for the heart, and Imam Ghazali calls it an army of the heart. He considers the intellect as one of the armies of the heart that helps it discern between, helps it judge, helps it discern between right and wrong. The heart needs protection from falsehood and the deception of shaitan. We consider Khwaja Ghareeb Nawaz a Sufi, one of the greatest. A Sufi is a practitioner of tasawwuf, and there is no tasawwuf without knowledge first. Imam Ahmad ibn al-Jibbar radiallahu anhu said, tasawwuf is the science of how to journey into the presence of the King of Kings, Allah. It is to inwardly purify ourselves from vice and beautify ourselves with virtue, to pass away from creation through consciousness of the Creator, and then to return. Its beginning is knowledge, its middle is practice, and its end is a gift from God. If you read any biographies of the elect awliya and the Sufiya of our religion, they all studied and were great scholars in their time. They all first, at a very young age, learned and memorized the Quran and prepared the soil of their hearts, and then deeply studied the Islamic science by which the seeds of knowledge were planted into that soil. And those seeds absorb the Quranic nutrients and minerals from that soil. The water is the tawfiq that rains down upon the earth, enabling the seeds to sprout forth and rise up tall out of the ground, guided by the divine, clarifying and revealing sunlight. The fruits that are a sweet gift of the process are the gifts that are granted to those who have struggled on the Sirat al-Mustaqim. This fruit is ma'rifah, knowledge and knowing of God and His creation and the ecstasy that ensues from it. To this, a wali is a witness. He witnesses the signs of God in all things created and knows it all to be perfectly made, according to the will of God. Imam Ali, Karamallahu Wajh, would say that as he walked down a street, there is nothing I would change. As I walk down the street, I would change nothing. Because he knows that God has chosen it to be that way. And that is the way it is. Saints are joyful people. MashaAllah. I spent some time with him. He was saying that everything that the Qudra, everything that Allah has brought into creation, there's a sweetness in it. And this is what awliya enjoy, and this is what they feel, this is what they seek joy in life, and they see the beauty in it. And they're contented with His will because they truly love Him. And this is what it comes down to, is love. Everything, it just comes down to love. And the relationship between, some say the relationship between a wali and Allah is nikah. It has the qualities of nikah. And in order to be able to come close to a wali, you have to become mahram. So you have to, in order to become close to Allah, to become close to the ones who are beloved to Him, you have to become mahram. That takes the purification of the heart. Awliya long for death, for it means being reunited with a hayy, not alive. Those who have sat in their company have heard their sighs of longing for their Lord, as Ibrahim a.s. used to do. Ibrahim a.s. was known to do that. Like this sigh of longing to return to Allah. This forced the celebration of Khwaja Mu'in Chishti's reunion with his beloved, his Lord, Jalla Jalaluhu. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. ما شاء الله. ما شاء الله. نعرة تكبير. نعرة رسالة. يا رسول الله. ما شاء الله.